Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why we need to take a closer look at a line Amato dropped in the last manga chapter where, as he was talking to Kawaki about the importance of reviving his daughter in exchange for his limiters being removed, Amato was threatened by Kawaki with the possibility that if Akebi did get turned into an Otsutsuki, that Kawaki would kill her. In what is perhaps the most bone-chilling line in the entire chapter, Amato replied with, quote, "You can do as you please, though I will fight you with everything I've got," end quote. And I know that is saying a lot, given we have Kawaki flat out saying that he'll kill Boruto, the main character of the series, by any means necessary. And while that has been the subject of a lot of conversation, I don't think that should be where our focus solely lies on, which is why in today's newest Naruto Explain video, I wanted to talk to you guys about why Amato's statement to Kawaki makes the most sense and makes him even more dangerous than you might have originally thought. Now, you might be going, wait a second, Amato's not a fighter. We've seen the guy squirming under the smallest bit of pressure being applied to him by code, and he hasn't really just put the fear of God in anyone in his presence. He looks weak enough that an academy student might be able to bust his ass if Amato is a substitute teacher at the academy and tries to put a little bit too much bass in his voice when an academy student says, "I'm not sitting down during your lecture." So why exactly should we be on watch for someone who is a non-combatant? Well, let me tell you why. Amato, without any doubt, is one of the most dangerous figures in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. Despite lacking direct combat ability, his power comes from his intelligence, his technological prowess, and most importantly, his ability to manipulate others and create weapons that surpass even the strongest of shinobi. The fact that he told Kawaki he would fight him if necessary should not be taken lightly, as Amato never makes empty threats. His willingness to do anything to protect his daughter, even at his own peril, suggests that he has contingency plans that should be devastating. So let's break down all the different ways that Amato might fight Kawaki, as well as the philosophical and religious inspiration behind Amato's actions. We're going to start with the shutdown code that is Amato's most obvious trump card. So one of Amato's most likely backup plans is using that shutdown code we saw where he can momentarily disable Kawaki. We already know that Amato has programmed a shutdown code into Kawaki, so that is something that Amato has as a failsafe. However, it won't necessarily be a permanent solution, as Kawaki might find a way to get around it, since Amato's shutdown code requires direct eye contact, especially given his growing connection to Otsutsuki abilities. Amato's shutdown code is merely a means to buy time for him to escape or deploy other countermeasures. As we saw when Sumire was there, Kawaki was out of it for a short period of time and then he woke up. When you get to the philosophical connection there, in Buddhism, it teaches control over the self or lack thereof being a fundamental tone or theme. If Amato has a way to override Kawaki's free will, it mirrors how Kawaki has been trapped by fate. First under Jigen's control, then under Amato's manipulation, and now his own ideology of eradicating the Otsutsuki. This creates a ironic twist where Amato might temporarily free his daughter from Kawaki by enslaving Kawaki himself, because why stop at just a shutdown code? Why not a control option? You can bet that Amato has at least thought about the latter. Now, when you look at the clones of his daughter, they could also serve as sacrificial guardians, and we've seen before, he's not above making backup of his daughter. We saw that there were 3 Delta clones right there. Naruto destroyed one, Amato implanted the consciousness and out came Delta. Now we have the other Delta that we see currently. We also know that he is not above recreating people like Jiraiya in the form of Kashin Koji. There's no reason to believe that he does not have additional copies of other clones elsewhere. If the revived daughter does turn into an Otsutsuki, as Kawaki fears, Amato might unleash modified clones infused with ninja tech like we've seen as his calling card to fight Kawaki in her defense. These clones could serve as sacrificial pawns in order to delay Kawaki, while Amato finds another way to protect his real daughter. Because as we all know, Amato talks about clones like they're nothing. He talks about the fact that memories are nothing more than data. So it's one of those things where Amato views things through cold calculation more than he should. The philosophical connection also aligns with the Shinto concept of Shikigami, spiritual entities or artificial beings created through rituals. If Amato has made clones as protectors, it reflects his idea of using man-made vessels in the form of Shikigami or golems to guard something sacred. His daughter, in his case, would be the divine entity that he seeks to protect even as she transforms into something monstrous because of father's love. Amato also has the possibility of injecting himself with Shibai's DNA. This is perhaps the most extreme and terrifying possibility that you have on the table that you can't take out, which is that Amato has secretly enhanced himself or will enhance himself using Shibai DNA. While we don't know how much of Shibai's remains Amato has access to, he already has access enough of it to implant Shibai DNA into the car inners. It is something that you should say would be naive to assume he didn't keep a portion for himself as a final contingency plan. If Amato does have Shibai DNA and integrates it into his body, we know that will give him godlike abilities if he awakens it, which at this point in the story, can we really put that past Amato to roll the dice on something like this? Though likely it would be limited or unstable compared to the full extent of Shibai's power, but as we know, you don't have to be from a shinobi background to access it. This could manifest in unpredictable ways. Divine abilities like precognition or space-time manipulation, a form of limited immortality or rapid regeneration, similar to what we see with Otsutsuki abilities, a last resort transformation into something monstrous, like when we see when Jigen is able to transform when channeling Ishiki's chakra. There are different avenues you can go down. Amato may have planned for this to be a worst case scenario. In case he sees no other way to protect his daughter, he could risk his humanity in the process. The philosophical connection directly parallels Buddhist and Shinto themes of transcendence versus corruption. In Buddhism, figures seek divine power. They can either become enlightened Bhagavatas or they can fall into demonic Ashura-like beings depending on their motivations, which is a reminder, Kishimoto flipped the Ashura and Indras. In Naruto, the Indras were good, the Asuras were bad. This could mean that Amato, if he injects himself with Shibai DNA, might descend into something beyond humanity. But whether he becomes a protector or a monster depends on his willpower. He could become both, a monster towards Kawaki and a protector towards his daughter. It also connects with the myth of Izanagi and Izanami, where Izanagi in his desperation tried to retrieve his lost wife Izanami from the underworld. Amato in his desperation to bring back his daughter might suffer a tragic fate similar to Izanagi, attempting to revive her at any cost and possibly becoming something inhuman himself, which would directly tie into the whole theme of Amato's character being unable to accept death of a loved one. The ultimate tragedy is basically Amato's fate if we go down this route. Despite all these backup plans, Amato's situation, when you really think about it, is tragic. It's deeply tragic. He is a daughter who lost everything in the form of his daughter, and he is willing to gamble with the gods themselves in order to fix it. He's willing to play God to fix it. However, his desperate pursuit of resurrection, it mirrors many Buddhist and Shinto stories about the consequences of clinging to the past. And that is Amato doing the same thing with his daughter and playing with fire as he does so. In Buddhism, attachment is one of the causes of suffering. Amato, unable to let go of his daughter, embodies this attachment to extreme degrees. His downfall likely would be a cautionary tale. He may succeed in reviving his daughter, but at the cost of his and her own humanity, his life, or even her happiness. Again, Amato wants his daughter in a living, breathing body. He wants her to be a human. The worst possible outcome is that she becomes an Otsutsuki, the very thing he was trying to protect the planet from, the very thing that he did not want her to be revived into this world and then be a victim of. Because as Amato said, what good is it to have a daughter brought back to life only for the planet that she's on to be harvested for a chakra fruit. If she truly becomes an Otsutsuki, you also run the risk of she might not be able to recognize him as a father anymore. Amado's story mirrors the idea of samsara, which, as longtime viewers on the channel know, samsara is what the 6 past powers and basically all the powers connected to Kaguya are deeply rooted in. His endless cycle of trying to revive his daughter might ultimately result in his own destruction. If Kawaki does kill Amado's daughter in the end, which he likely will if she's an Otsutsuki, if we take Kawaki at his words, then Amato will have failed in every possible way. He would have transformed himself into something beyond human. He would have sacrificed everything for his daughter only to lose her again. He would have no reason left to live. And when I say he transforms himself into something beyond human, I'm talking about his morality. In that sense, Amato, he might be one of the most tragic figures in the entire series. A man who tried to defy fate, he tried to play God, only to become a victim of fate itself. In conclusion, this is why Amato is so dangerous. Amato's intelligence, his foresight, and lack of ethical boundaries might make him the wildest variable in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. His statement that he would fight Kawaki implies that he has something truly extreme prepared. His possible strategies include, again, a combination of the shutdown code that we've seen, as well as a control option, creating modified clones of his daughter, which are basically sacrificial warriors of clones of Akebi or potentially clones of other people, designed to delay or even defeat Kawaki, or even enhancing himself with Shibai's DNA, a last-ditch resort gambit that could turn himself into something beyond human. Each of these potential actions reinforces the Buddhist and Shinto themes of attachment, transcendence, and the consequence of tampering with life and death. Amato is not dangerous because he's strong. He's dangerous because he is the ultimate chess master. He's willing to break every moral law and scientific limitation to achieve his goal. The question is not whether he has a plan to fight Kawaki, it is how far he's willing to go and whether he is prepared to face the consequences of his own obsession. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing or clicking over here to watch this video from my Anime Explained channel, where I talk about non-Naruto content in the form of video essays, lore videos, chapter reviews, explained videos, and also videos like this solo leveling video breaking down every single national rank hunter and S rank hunter in the entire series.